Welcome back to Persona 5 Royal. I'm actually back here because I just realized that after this will seed, yeah, you can actually hop down here, and that puts us on the other end of this locked door that was bugging me earlier. I was thinking that we actually had to unlock this from way later in the palace, but no, that was a mistake. So now that we've got this logged on the map, I'll see you back in the psych evaluation room. And Akechi has something to say. Okay, so he thinks that the track is, yeah, like he said, for experimentation, I guess, seeing how the mind reacts to exercise or like that kind of physical stimulus. I don't think I had a team consultant here. Also, the safe rooms are back to being clean now. It is interesting how there are sort of two sides to Maruki's palace. You have the sort of the very white, pristine, clean parts, and then you have the actual research lab, which is a lot darker and has all those Cthulhu elements. I suppose that could relate to Maruki's black and white thinking, but also, you know, the two sides of his mentality, or maybe the darker side of himself that he's not really aware of. Because that is kind of a thing with Maruki. He genuinely does think that he's doing good. He just isn't aware of the negative issues with all of his methods.
Okay, let's move on.
But right here, we're back in the part of his palace that he openly presents to others. Because, yeah, it's not like Maruki is actively being a malicious person. He's just a little oblivious to the consequences of some of his actions. So, yeah, we saw a bit of a preview of this room. You can even see, yeah, they've got different coloured carpets here. Still more of these ink blot tests that I believe is... I'm pretty sure most people consider this to be pseudoscience. But yeah, let's examine this first. Hello, patients. Here is your first question. One day at school, you see that your good friend is being led away by a group of scary people. You want to help your friend, but if you fight them alone and lose, you could easily get hurt. If you go look for a teacher, there would be no danger to you, but if you don't succeed in time, your friend would most likely get hurt. Which would you do in this situation? Go after your friend, or go get help? Once you've made your decision, please take the corresponding elevator. Thank you.
Huh?
And this entire puzzle is one that I personally find fascinating for exactly what Futaba is saying right here. This is not meant to be a kind of player personality test. It's not meant to be pick whichever answer you would personally do. The puzzle here is, which of these choices would Maruki think is the correct answer? And I love that because it's kind of testing you on how well you know the antagonist. How well do you know his character from what you've seen so far? And it's just a really nice puzzle to do in a game based on like psychology and people's personalities, and the dungeons being in the minds of particular characters. Oh boy, Futaba using TLDR in real life. Which actually for a long time I didn't know that it was actually too long didn't read.
Hey.
So we can talk to these people and ask them to give a bit of insight onto what they choose. Perhaps if you look at their reasoning, we can use that to determine which reasoning Maruki feels is flawed. I just don't have the courage to confront somebody. Even if I had the courage to step in, I might not be able to actually help.
Yes.
This one is actually somewhat tricky thinking about it, because you can make arguments for Maruki favoring either option. If you choose to get help from someone else, then you yourself aren't at risk of getting hurt, and maybe Maruki would think that was a good thing. At the same time, by doing that, you're admitting that you're powerless, and maybe that means Maruki thinks you need treatment. Yeah, we're just, we're the entertainers. We were hired to be, waiting room entertainment.
Huh?
Ah, okay, this kind of thing. Just like the, people in the prison of regression. Just walking away. I'm going to help people in need no matter what happens to me. Hang on, that sounds like something Maruki wouldn't approve of. While some of the Phantom Thieves would think A is the right answer, again, this isn't about what we think. In a sense, I kind of like this whole puzzle because it's also examining a lot of the flaws of these kind of things as a personality or psychology test. Because people are a lot more complicated than just, oh, if you choose mostly these answers, then you're law. If you choose mostly these, then you're chaos. I'm just really thinking of a certain segment in Shin Megami Tensei 4, where you're given all of those questions and you get pushed towards law or chaos based on which one you go for. Again, I feel like this right here is a deconstruction of that whole concept, because it's showing that by categorizing people's personalities entirely based on, like, which, you know, what they pick on a personality test, it is kind of a flawed way of thinking, and also, yeah, it's just not quite an accurate representation of somebody's real, you know, real self or their psychology. Different people will do different things in different circumstances. I'm just drawing attention to the fact that these shelves are climbable. It's not relevant here, but it may be relevant later. Because it just kind of reminds me of like the whole thing of D&D alignment and that whole minefield, and oftentimes it's really hard to assign alignments to fictional characters just because people generally don't always act in one exact way. That's why I personally only really approve of D&D alignment when it comes to beings like devils and angels, who are kind of the physical embodiments of certain emotional concepts, and therefore have no real choice but to be an alignment. Because I think, as the D&D rules say, if a devil stopped being lawful evil, it would no longer be a devil. And similarly, like a lot of fictional gods, like for example, in this game, I would say Yaldabaoth is very definitely lawful evil. He literally is lawful evil in physical form. But again, most, you know, gods born from the human psyche in Persona have no choice but to embody a particular concept. Like I would say that Persona 3's is lawful neutral by their nature. But, again, back to this topic, thinking like Dr. Maruki.
Well then.
Did you get these discussions to be a bit of a hint? So, let's go over the strong-willed man. Yeah, we know that, but I don't think that's actually relevant.
Indeed.
And very strangely, Akechi is a big voice of reason for this puzzle. Yeah, I was thinking that too, the risk factor. What would Maruki think about doing something that puts you in danger?
What are your thoughts? Now then. But...
Yeah, I remember that, and in fact, this actually leads me into another topic that I wanted to discuss. I couldn't talk about this before, but I made sure to show both the rank 10 and non-rank 10 variants of Maruki's Farewell, because is it just me, or did the non-rank 10 version sound healthier? It kind of leads into that thing of like, did we do this? Did we actually push Maruki this far? because
What are your thoughts?
it kind of shows that by maxing out his confidant with Joker, Maruki kind of gets a bit more entrenched into his unhealthy way of looking at things.
What's up?
So I think we should choose our answer now.
Oh.
Yeah, true. Either of them can help your friend, so in that case we need to think about what the net gain is in another sense.
Do you have a moment?
Yeah, this one is pretty much spelled out for you, but it does say a bit about Maruki. So it seems like the general consensus is that option B is, again, what Maruki would think is the correct answer, and that's what this is all about. And yep, there we go. But I did think for a second that, you know, maybe this would mean that Maruki might think that you are, you know, cowardly and need help. So, again, it can be kind of complicated, but in this case, you've got to think about it as being all about pain, about risk to yourself. But yeah, Maruki did talk a lot about running away. Like I said before, the whole black and white thinking, pain is bad, therefore any way to avoid pain is good. And they did say that we might get a reward for answering these right. You don't have to, but you will have to fight an enemy if you guess wrong, which just reminds me of a lot of the Pokemon gym puzzles where many people would get the answers wrong on purpose just to fight more trainers for more experience. And now we have 3 choices.
Alright then.
But before we go over all of the choices, let's look at what would have happened if we'd selected wrong. As I said, there's an enemy in there. Wow, even the people in Maruki's own psyche are overworked for having to help too many people. I wonder if that subconsciously says anything about him. And I did that to at least register the location on the map.
Show me your true form.
You know what, screw it, Pokemon Gym method time. At least we get to see the unique battle background here.
Do they have some treasure?
There.
Okay, let's see how much this does. Probably not a whole ton.
Joker took one out.
No, alright damage.
Troubling.
Oh, it's better now. Don't let your guard down.
Oh yeah, and certain types of negotiations do cure ailments.
Let's go.
But it's not gonna last long enough to actually,
All out of
reap the benefits of not being angry. I guess it needs to take this psych evaluation too, although wait a minute, isn't it the psych evaluator itself?
Okay.
Kind of weird, inflicting rage and mental
We had room
ailments
to
on them and then
spare.
using technical with Psy, now that I think about it. Maybe the whole Psy technical thing was kind of building up to Maruki all along. But okay then, let's see what we have for question number 2. Good to see you again. Here is the second question. You have a personal dream that you really, really want to make come true. You've worked so hard to achieve it. But it's just not coming to fruition. It's causing you a lot of grief, but if you were to give up now, all of your hard work is sure to be for nothing. Which would you do in this situation? A. Keep up the hard work. B. Do whatever it takes. And we can see in that image there seems to be like drugs there, so it's implying using performance enhancers for, you know, gymnastics or something like that. Or C. Give up for a new dream. Please be honest about your feelings as you consider your answer. Thank you. Now, from what I've been talking about all throughout this 3rd semester, it should be fairly obvious which of these Maruki thinks is right, but let's talk to the people first. It's a little creepy that everyone here is wearing these same white suits too. Yeah, I definitely know the feeling. Get so worried, though. I wonder if Maruki's own psyche is marking out these specific words in red.
Thank you very much.
See, I personally think she has the right attitude, but I'm sure that Maruki has some kind of alarm going off, going, stress, anxiety, must eliminate, must eliminate. But yeah, that's option A. So how about option B, do whatever it takes? I've actually seen some real-life Phantom Thief cosplayers before, and yeah, the kinds of costumes they get are cool. Though one thing I always wonder about people who make cosplay, any cosplayers watching this, please answer me this. What do you do with the cosplay outfits once you've worn them once? Like, do you keep them? Do you use them for other conventions? Like, do you ever wear them again?
Yeah.
This guy's, see, this is also actually kind of interesting as well, because, when I first got to this moment, I started to think, like, wow, video games have got to the point where streaming is actually being referenced, like, as an in-universe thing. And this right here, I think, is just kind of too real to me, like, right now. This kind of thing does actually happen, especially now with TikTok. It's just something that I'm personally very, very... yeah, not a huge fan of, because, like, it kind of reminds me about, okay, so regardless of what you think about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, it reminds me of how what happened during that trial, like, it was so public that people were just making hate memes on TikTok and blowing up, and just the whole time I was just sitting just saying, like, come on, this should just be about the truth. It should just be between, you know, the people who actually know what happened. It shouldn't just be about a court of public opinion with you all just making money off of real people's actual issues. I mean, yeah, sure, well, it depends on if what you're doing runs afoul of defamation laws. Depends on if you're going after anyone who can be bothered to actually sue you for defamation. I mean, on the one hand, making money is kind of nice, but on the other hand, this is part of why I don't really chase trends with this channel, because in general, a lot of the stuff that, you know, is trending is just not what I'm personally into. Like those, you know, just the general culture of video game videos on YouTube now, where it's just about big, exaggerated faces in the thumbnail, and like, I did this crazy thing in Minecraft, or like, you know, Pokemon, but it's this! It's just, yeah, I'm not into that, so... And I just think, you know, I don't want to switch to that kind of content just because my stuff might blow up, because then I wouldn't be, you know, me anymore. So this guy seems very apathetic. He's, maybe related to partying students.
Huh?
Yes.
I mean, not everyone wants some big grandiose dream, for one, but on the other hand, this guy's definitely, he's not quite Memento's Depths level of sloth, but he's getting there. Failing after trying your hardest is the worst. Oh, that just reminds me of that Simpsons quote, "You tried your best and failed miserably. The lesson is, never try." I kind of wonder if Maruki has that, like, as a motivational poster in his office. I mean, I do think that sometimes, you know, trying a new dream can be a good thing. You might find something that you do genuinely enjoy doing more. Like, I know a lot of people who've been miserable at their job, switched to a new job, and been a lot happier. But yeah, it's just all a matter of thinking about this through the logic of, what would Maruki do? And what would Maruki approve of here? Now, before I go into that room, I'm gonna seal this, but before I go into that room, I said before that these right here, I wanted to check these out for reasons. Yeah, this time there's actually something for us if we head up here. Speaking of that, do whatever it takes, we can actually cheat these exams a little bit.
Huh?
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be surprised at this point, but it's also interesting that you got the clean white aesthetic in all of, like, the publicly accessible areas, but these areas are back to the darker kind of, you know, dark, cold metallic colors with the creepy, tentacle, tentacle chords.
It's somewhere.
But yeah, we can't see anything in that hall, or in this one.
Shall we begin?
And so it's time for another meeting. In this case, we have 3 stories to discuss. Keep up the hard work.
Yes.
This is the one I feel like the Phantom Thieves would probably choose. And yeah, this is true. Provided that they're not suffering any worry or anxiety. Once again, Akechi is being the voice of reason here. Of course, you know, in Futaba's book, hacking foreign government networks is A-okay. And yeah, I believe Maruki would be against this too, since it is hurting others, so... In addition to being against causing unhappiness to yourself, Maruki is against causing unhappiness to others.
What are your thoughts?
Which maybe answers my question about that dictator thing that I was saying during the 3rd semester, like what would happen if Maruki wanted to, like, grant everyone's happiness, but there was someone out there whose idea of happiness was like conquering a neighboring country. Well, yeah, Maruki probably wouldn't approve of that because it hurts other people.
Yes.
So then this guy, meanwhile, was agreeing with one option more because he just didn't like the others. Sounds like me when I pick Shin Megami Tensei ending shots fired. Yeah, it always kind of sucks when you have to pick one option just because it's the least bad one, rather than because you actually like it. And true, you know, you do need to take risks in order to really live, a decent and productive life, really.
What are your thoughts?
So this one, to me, is fairly obvious. And this is also important, like, to note as well. Maruki does have a sense of justice, as we can tell by that original idea of his to try and eliminate crime.
Yes. Well?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I was just reminded of something that I kind of thought about with Sumire and her whole gymnastics thing, but it's kind of a weird aside. So, when I was a lot younger, my sister, and I'm pretty sure she'd look back on this and be a bit embarrassed, used to watch, like, Lizzie McGuire, and there was one episode of it in particular that I always used to have issues with because, she Like, there's an episode where Lizzie gets into, like, rhythmic gymnastics, and she is legitimately very good at it. Like, incredibly good at it. But by the end of the episode, she gives up on it just because all of her friends and the rest of the school mock her for it. Like, they consider it like an, you know, yeah, that they sort of consider it an embarrassing hobby. And because of that, she gives up on it. It's just, that always bothered me. I mean, true, but there are right and wrong answers in Maruki's mind, and that's the main thing to keep in mind here. I believe that's one of the proteins that you can train with at the gym. Everyone thinks that we are cosplayers. Yeah. Or, you know, if you're being charitable, also, yeah, these things here are one-way mirrors, which I'm pretty sure aren't actually a real thing, but we can't see in there, but the people inside can see us. But, like, maybe if you want to be charitable to Maruki, it could also just be... Holy frig, this is a lot of options. It could also be he's singling out people who might need mental treatment, like for example, the one who's feeling very stressed by trying to achieve their dream. It's like, okay, maybe you need counseling. That's like the charitable answer, but I do also feel that a part of Maruki does want people to avoid things that could potentially cause them pain. And this also leads me to another thing about Maruki, in general, and that's that... There's a grapple point here. And that is something that I will cover after I've checked this information panel. Welcome back yet again. Let's move on to the third question. You've gained the power to steal people's hearts. Thoughts, emotions, information, you can steal all of it from anyone in the world. Not only that, you can use this power without fear of ever getting caught. In this scenario, which sounds closest to what you would do? A. Steal something valuable. B. Never steal anything. C. Steal my own heart to heal. Pay attention to the image for that one, by the way. I'll just mention that for now. D. Steal evil hearts to fix society. E. Steal the one I love's heart.
What?
Maybe he only made this one after he met us. And yeah, always gotta, you know, have all of those, not so much loopholes, but like conditions to this, just to say, like, because, you know, if you use it for multiple different purposes, that'd be kind of defeating the point of this, type of test. But, wow, Ryuji, this line right here, yeah, yet another thing in the third semester where they are trying to address some issues that some people have with the base game, namely the whole Ryuji-Morgana rivalry, which is a lot better in Strikers, by the way, as well. So, okay. The thing with Maruki is that now that we know about his past, the question that I want to ask is, how much of Maruki's actions are from his genuine desire to help people, and how much of them are psychological projection for what happened with Rumi? Because I kind of feel like there's obviously, even if he himself doesn't acknowledge it, there's gotta be a part of Maruki who is projecting his own coping mechanisms onto everyone, thinking, okay, maybe it's for the best if we just pretend our trauma never happened and we just move on. Maybe that's for the best. Just avoid any risk of any pain.
So that means...
No one would find out. Oh no. I guess Maruki knows Dover Boys memes. Yeah, for those of you who haven't watched it, I highly recommend look up the actual Dover Boys short. It's public domain, and memes aside, it's legitimately really funny. But yeah, the meme from it in this case is I'll steal it. No one will ever know. Why does everyone here either mock our outfits or just think we're cosplayers? What's going on? Also, we can check the doors here. So it doesn't look like there's any shadow behind that one. And this one doesn't have a shadow behind it either. But okay then, looks like this person is the next one to talk to.
Yes.
Option B, never steal anything. Are you happy right now is like the question probably everyone here is tired of. Yeah, that's true. I can definitely understand that. This is part of why, like, all of those, you know, students who, like, weren't wanting to oppose the Mafia in, I was about to say Chapter 3, in the Kaneshiro arc. Where I don't think it's necessarily selfish sometimes to, you know, not go, hunting after organizations like that, because, you know, you've got people who would be heavily affected if you got yourself killed. So, this guy right here, he definitely seems like Maruki's kind of person. Especially if you take into account the previous answers.
May I get a word in?
And as it seems here, there aren't any more people to talk to in this lobby, so we actually now have to follow Yusuke's advice and go for the security room. I looked up the actual inkblot test, and it seems like this is not like an actual, these are not the actual inkblots from the real test. There might even be some kind of copyright involved in those, but apparently the inkblot test is pretty popular in Japan. So we've got a room here.
I can see it.
And we do have a computer we can check here, but it looks like...
Then...
Yeah, this is the steal your own heart to heal. Now, this is something that I personally would have picked as the option for Maruki's correct answer in my first playthrough. And then I saw this.
Come on, man.
We now know that option C is wrong. And this is, yeah, the thing that I didn't consider at the time when I thought that was the most obvious option. That Maruki would like it when people want to get rid of their own pain. But here's the thing, admitting that you have pain in Maruki's palace is also saying, please give me treatment, which is not what we want here. So you kind of got to operate on a bit of a different logic. And we can also head back in here. Hello there. Hello there. How do you like the new therapy technique of we make you really, really angry, throw psychokinesis items at you, and then blast you in the face with massive psychic damage. Powered up by the law of the universe. So how was that? Do you feel better about your life? Oh wait, you're dead now. Whoops. Yeah, don't let these guys be therapists.
A decisive victory.
It's kind of like how I always thought that Yu Narukami in Persona 4, I always thought that he'd probably go on to be a therapist someday. Maybe. I personally see Joker not really doing that. Yeah, I'm definitely more in the Joker goes into politics headcanon, although some have said that it's very, very hard to get into politics if you've got like a prior criminal conviction. Even if they get stuff overturned, he'll probably still have some of the other stuff hanging over him. Yeah, so this one was obviously a wrong answer too. Because when you think about it, of course, this is just brainwashing someone to fall in love with you, which, there's a reason why genies can't do that in Aladdin. I mean, at least the Shadow is trying to help people. You know, what he's getting at is exactly what Kamoshida was doing in a sense. And, you know,
Hey.
something that Haru said to Okumura as well. So, we've narrowed it down to either steal nothing or steal corrupt hearts to reform society. So now we're left with just a discussion, but as I make my way back there, I do want to mention one other thing. And that is, so Maruki. Right. I personally consider Maruki to be very misguided, and I wouldn't really, go with his methods in the context of Persona or in the context of real life, where people are shown to be able to move past their problems.
Shall we begin?
Like, I do firmly believe that in real life, even though it is quite hard, people can get over their trauma, and I'm not saying, you know, people just, you know, instantly get over it, but I mean, people can heal from trauma and work past it, and it's better to do that than pretend that it never happened at all. And also, there's these questionable methods for, you know, for actually achieving this reality, where everyone is just forcibly granted what they desire, and, you know, there's nothing that can possibly cause unhappiness. There's, like, no, you know, hardship or strife or anything like that. But here's the thing. If Maruki was a lore alignment rep in mainline Shin Megami Tensei, I would choose him in a heartbeat. It kind of more comes down to the context, because in those settings, the world is post-apocalyptic, everything has gone to absolute crap. They're typically ruled over by tyrannical gods who just want to mindlessly brainwash everyone or force people to just become beasts who slaughter each other. And, like, yeah, with how bad all the other options are, I've always thought that... we'll fill you in later. Sorry that I'm kind of talking over this, but this is a topic that I did want to cover. I've always thought that...
What are your thoughts?
Maruki is what Shin Megami Tensei lore characters should aspire to. I feel like Maruki's reality, one where everyone is happy and where there's no strife, and it's more about just, you know, personal happiness than it is about, like, for everyone, and a sort of, you know, a happy, fulfilling life for everyone, than, you know, control or mindless obedience. I do feel like Maruki actually does a good job of, kind of espousing the lore philosophy, in a sense. Like I've always felt that what lore should be is it should be about, it should be about helping people, and about kindness, and about putting the needs of others over yourself. And that's part of why I just can't get into mainline SMT, because in all of them, they seem to have this opinion that it just devolves into mindless brainwashing, and it ends up resembling a dictatorship more than chaos, which is actually meant to be about brutal hierarchies and crushing people who are down, and blaming and, you know, encouraging people to blame themselves for their own suffering if they're poor, or... Anyway, yeah, I have issues with SMT Chaos, as you can probably tell. I have a lot of issues. I'm very atypical when it comes to a lot of the SMT fanbase on that. I don't know if it's an American cultural thing, or partly an Australian cultural thing, because Australia is often stereotyped as a very egalitarian culture, and one that takes a very cynical view of meritocracy as well.
What are your thoughts?
But anyway, that's a completely different sort of topic here. We know that these two are wrong, but I'm going to go over them anyway.
Indeed.
What are your thoughts?
But the real question here, and I'm actually going to go over it again, is the composed man. Because we've narrowed it down to two choices, and we don't know whether Steel Society's heart is wrong yet, the question is B wrong? Because if B is wrong, then by process of elimination, reform society is the right answer. So he doesn't want much. Yeah. It does
What are your
seem a
thoughts?
little bit like
What are your thoughts?
Maruki's not quite satisfied with that.
Right.
Like, is that guy really happy? It didn't really seem like it. It seemed like he was just content with the way things were. Content, but not necessarily happy. He didn't really have, like, he wasn't living his best life. He's just, kind of suffering from perpetual boredom. So, by process of elimination, it looks like D is the correct answer.
What do you want to do?
And this is a very interesting point about Maruki, because it shows that he's actually not so different from us.
Wait.
Yeah, I got freaked out at this one first too. Like, my heart actually did skip a beat there, but yes, this is the right answer. Because again, Maruki has a sense of justice as well, and he would definitely applaud someone who'd want to use this power to make life better for other people. Oh no, welcome to your new life sounds just, that is the biggest cult red flag right here. And this is also another thing about Maruki, and it also plays into why, within the context of Persona, I feel like Maruki's, maybe a little misguided and doesn't quite realize the harm he could be causing. The fact that this entire section is all about, if you don't conform to exactly what Maruki thinks is happiness, you are mentally ill and require treatment.
Yes.
That alone is not a good attitude for a counselor to have at all.
Look,
And yeah, definitely a bit of a red flag. So, yes, been saying red flag a lot, but it's true. It is very much a red flag, and we're about to see even more of them.
For real?
Mental health check, all is one word. It's the wall of happiness. Kind of feels like a sanitization thing, though.
Right.
What?
Yeah, I guess he figured that out. And of course it's true, like, if we weren't considered abnormal, we wouldn't have our Phantom Thief outfits on right now. Thankfully, the Phantom Thief outfits protect you from cognitive distortions, so you don't have to worry about any, possible brainwashing that could be going on in this palace. It's kind of rare that you get a full-on transition through one of these vents. But now, welcome to the counseling room. Probably shouldn't be ominous sounding, but in this place...
Whoa!
Yeah, I wasn't kidding about that brain drain machine thing. And also all of these people are wearing dark clothing. So yeah, this is another example of, like, Maruki's black and white thinking. Everyone who he considers to be not happy, he puts in this outfit and straps this brain thing on them.
But
I mean, they're all cognitive beings, but that means this is what Maruki actually thinks of himself as doing in the real world. So it reminds me of those, like, brainwashing helmets that are put on, like, Warhammer 40,000 Imperial Assassins to keep them pacified. Then they inject a cocktail of drugs in them and make them into violent killing machines on the battlefield. That's definitely not what Maruki's doing here. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely has creepy imagery to it.
Yeah.
But now that we're at the end of this area, we haven't really done a lot of fighting, and I kind of feel bad about that, but we're about to be entering a place where we're gonna see another one of Maruki's flashbacks, as well as fight a mini-boss and, head into the most infamous part of this palace. So I'm actually going to save and call things at this point. But before that, I want to go and fill out the rest of the map here. Because yeah, we didn't explore this part of the room. Yeah, I'll just end things off by saying that I think Maruki is a fascinating character. He is one of my favorite characters in all of Persona. Probably my favorite character in Persona 5. And I still feel like he doesn't feel intrusive in the overall Persona 5 narrative. Like, if I played Royal for the first time and had no knowledge of Vanilla existing, I wouldn't know Maruki was a new character unless you told me. I've mentioned that earlier in the playthrough, but I just wanted to say it again, because I really, really think that. And I have more to say on Maruki too. But I definitely wanted to get that out there, my whole thoughts on, like, I don't know what other people think, but I do just say, like, so many people say, oh, you mainline SMTs, you're ripping off Persona, and well, I get they're totally separate series, and I do like that they are kept relatively separate. I actually don't like SMT4 Apocalypse's focus on bonds, the power of bonds, and all of that, because I just don't think it fit at all. So I thought that didn't really fit with mainline SMT, but at the same time, I do think there are some things... Oh, hi there, didn't even see you. You don't register as anything. Huh, that's weird. There are some things that I think mainline can learn from Persona, and one of them, I actually think a character like Maruki would be the perfect lore alignment representative. I think Maruki is what they should look to when they want to actually, like, make a lore character that people will actually want to side with. They almost got there with SMT5's lore rep, who's technically a bit of a spoiler. Also, this line is pretty great. Also, if Akechi's calling you crazy, then yeah, that's something. But, yeah. TLDR, Maruki is what a good lore alignment rep should be, and I would really hope that SMT takes cues for that in its writing. But anyway, I will see you all next time, as we find out a little more about Maruki's past, and face a mini-boss.